Hello all, welcome back to the channel. So today let us see what are the fundamental rights. Now let us understand fundamental rights, one of the most important topic in the Constitution of India. Fundamental rights are the basic rights given to the people for freedom, equality and protection. These rights help people live with dignity and protect them from fair actions. These rights are given from Article 12 to Article 35 and are very important for the AIBE exam. So let us start with the first one, Article 12, which is definition of state. Here, Article 12 explains the meaning of the word state. In simple words, it tells us against whom fundamental rights can be enforced. So here, state includes central government, state government, parliament, local authorities, and other bodies which are working under government control. I'll repeat. The state includes central government, state government, parliament, local authorities, and other bodies are working under government control. For example, if a government college, let us see, if a government college treats a student unfairly, and so let us say they have removed this student without any reason. The student can go to the court because that college comes under state. So simply remember, Article 12 tells us who can be questioned for violating the fundamental rights. Okay, so this is Article 12. Now, next comes Article 13. This is one of the strongest protections in the Constitution. In this article, the concept of judicial review is given. In simple words, it means Constitution is the supreme. Okay, no law about it. See this. If the parliament or state legislature makes any law which violates the fundamental rights, the court have the power to declare that the law is invalid. Let's take an example. Imagine a law says people cannot criticize the government. So, such a law would violate the freedom of speech and the courts can strike it down. So, Article 13 protects citizens from unconstitutional laws and maintain the supremacy of the Constitution. Okay. Now, let us go to Article 14. Here, Article 14 talks about equality. Equality before law. So, equal protections of law. This article is based on this beautiful idea that law should treat everyone fairly, whether the person is rich, whether the person is rich, or whether the person is poor, right? Famous, ordinary, everyone is equal before law. Nobody is above law. Okay. For example, if a powerful politician commits a crime, the law should punish him in the same way as any ordinary citizen. So, this is the meaning of equality before law. Now, let us see Article 15. This prohibits the discrimination. The article says the state cannot discriminate against people on the grounds like religion, caste, race, sex, or place of birth. The purpose of this article is to create a society where people are respected equally, whichever religion or caste or race or sex he is from or the place he is from, everybody should be treated equally or respected equally. For example, a government college cannot refuse admission to any student simply because of the caste or the religion. At the same time, the Constitution also allows reservations for socially and educationally backward classes or economically weaker sections. Because real equality sometimes requires support for weaker sections of the society. That is Article 15, which prohibits the discrimination. Now, let us go to Article 16. Article 16 talks about equality in public employment. This means every citizen should get a fair opportunity in the government jobs. Government jobs cannot be distributed unfairly or based on favoritism. For example, if a government office says only people of this community, of one community, can apply for a job, it would be violating Article 16. However, there are reservations for backward classes. Okay, this is also allowed to ensure balanced representation of social justice. Okay, so this is all about Article 16. Article 16 talks about equality in public employment. Let us go to next one, Article 17. This Article 17 abolishes untouchability. This is one of the most powerful social reform provisions in our Constitution. It was introduced to remove centuries of the social discrimination and humiliation faced by many people in the society back then. For example, stopping any person from entering into a temple, a church, or a mosque, okay, or any hotel or any public place. So only because of this caste, like based on his caste, is unconstitutional and punishable by law. This article promotes human dignity and equality. So Article 17 abolishes untouchability. Okay, let's get to the next one, Article 18. Article 18 abolishes titles. The Constitution wanted to create a society based on equality and not on artificial superiority. So some like titles like Raja or Rai Bahadur, okay, things like this honorary titles. So these titles are abolished. For example, The government cannot give titles which make one citizen appear socially superior to others. However, like military titles like major or titles like doctor, now these are allowed because they show the qualification or the service, but not social inequality. So Article 18 abolishes the titles. Now comes, let us see, Article 19. This is one of the most important articles in the entire Constitution. This article gives six important freedoms to the citizen. First one, freedom of speech and expression. Next one is assembly, association, movement, residence, and profession. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Freedom of speech and expression, assembly, association, movement, residence, and profession. These freedoms are essential in democratic country because democracy survives only when people can freely express their opinions, and live without unnecessary restrictions. See, let's take an example. A person can peacefully protest against the government policy. He can write his opinions in newspapers. He can travel. Okay, he can travel freely across India. He can choose any profession. But these freedoms are not absolute. The state can impose reasonable restrictions for public order or morality, security, and national interest. Okay, so that is why these restrictions under Article 19, this Article 19, this is important for our exam. So I'll repeat once again the six: freedom of speech and expression, assembly, association, movement, residence, and profession. Let's move to Article 20. Article 20 gives protection in criminal matters. This article protects people from unfair punishment or misuse of criminal law. Which means if a person is punished already, okay, if a person is punished for an offense, they cannot be punished again. Second time, he cannot be punished for the same offense. That is called double jeopardy. Similarly, a person cannot be forced. A person cannot be forced to give against, no, I mean, sorry, to give evidence against his own will. I mean, is against themselves. The Constitution protects fairness even in criminal trials. So this is what Article 20 is about, that protection in matters. Let us go to Article 21 now. Article 21 protects right to life and personal liberty. This article has become one of the broadest and most important article because Supreme Court expanded its meaning over time. Today, Article 21 does not only mean physical survival, it includes the right to live with dignity, privacy, clean environment, legal aid, and speedy trial. I'll repeat: right to live with dignity, privacy, clean environment, legal aid, and speedy trials. For example, polluted surroundings affecting people's health, right, can also become an Article 21 issue because clean environment is considered a part of right to life. Okay, this is all about Article 21, which protects the right to life and personal liberty. Let us see Article 21A. This gives right to education to children between 6 to 14 years. The purpose of this article is to ensure that every child receives basic education because education is necessary for both individual and nation. So Article 21 talks about right to education for children 6 to 14 years. Right. Now, let us go to Article 22. This gives protection against arrest and detention. The Constitution understood that personal liberty is very precious, so it provided safeguard against the misuse of police power. For example, a person who is arrested, for example, a person who is arrested, he must this he must be this person must be informed about the reason for the arrest and should also be produced before the magistrate within 24 hours. So this article also deals with preventive detention laws. Okay, Article 22 gives a, protection against arrest and detention. Now let us see articles 23 and 24. This protect people against exploitation. Article 23 prohibits human trafficking and forced labor, while Article 24 prohibits child labor in dangerous industries. For example, forcing poor people to work without wages or making small children to work in factories, right? This is against the Constitution. Article 23 and 24 that prohibits human trafficking, forced labor, okay, and child labor in dangerous industries. Let us see Article Article 25 to 28. Here, this deals with freedom of religion. Article 25 to 28 deals with freedom of religion. India follows secularism, which means every person has freedom to follow, practice, propagate his religion peacefully. Okay, for example, a person he can visit a temple, mosque, church, or follow any religion according to his personal belief without fear. Okay, that is what secularism. So Article 25 to 28 that talks on freedom of religion. Let us see Article 20, Article 29 and 30. This protect minority rights. Minority rights. This article protects the culture, language, and educational rights of minorities. For example, minorities can establish and manage their own educational institutions to preserve their culture and identity. Okay, so Article 29 protects minority rights. And finally comes Article 32. Here, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called this as heart and soul of the Constitution. This article is extremely important because it gives citizens the right to directly approach Supreme Court when their fundamental rights are violated. It includes like there are writs. It includes important writ remedy like habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition, and quo warrant. We can discuss all these five in the next coming videos, but for now, these are the writ petitions. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called it as the heart and soul because fundamental rights become meaningful only when citizens have the power to enforce them in our courts. So, these are the important fundamental rights. Overall, fundamental rights are not just legal provisions written in the Constitution. They are powerful protections which preserve liberty, equality, dignity, and justice for every person in our country. What are those? Liberty, equality, dignity, and justice. So this is all about all the important articles given in our constitution. So anything you wanna know or you wanna comment, I mean you wanna tell me, please comment in the, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much. Halas.